Celebrating 30 years of phenomenal trend forecasting, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Here's Gerald Celente with today's trends in the news.
Hi, this is Gerald Celente. It's Thursday, July 23rd, 2015, and here are some of today's trends in the news. Well, the big trend, of course, is what's going on in the markets. Volatile month. Well, over there in China, they fixed that Shanghai a little bit, jacked it up a little higher, a little over 2%, but deep. The rest of Asia, not so good, not so much of anything. Same thing in Europe, flat. Over here in the States, down. And the commodities, of course, gold was up, and now it's down. And oil. Hey, that West Texas, huh? Flirting with 48. That's right. And you got that Brent crude heading toward 50, maybe. Down too. How come? Well, there's a global slowdown, but we won't talk about it. Billions wiped from shares of miners. Financial Times. Billions of dollars of shareholder value were erased from the world's largest mining companies yesterday as an index of commodities prices plumbed a fresh 13-year low. The Bloomberg Commodity Price Index, which tracks a basket of the world's most commonly used raw materials, hit its lowest reading since March 2002. Hey, March 2002, what was going on? Oh, hey, remember the dot-com bubble burst in March of 2000? And then 9/11 happened? And then they pumped up the markets with cheap interest rates? So things were just starting to move up back then. But it was low. And that's where the commodity prices are, because there's a global slowdown. But not according to people that are forecasting gold prices. Gold is one of the last asset bubbles to burst, said Atul Lal, who oversees $5.1 billion as chief investment officer at Deltec International Group. Quote, investors have finally resigned themselves to the fact that the world is getting better and interest rates are going higher in the U.S. You know what that is.
Oh, come on now. That ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Total horseshit. Why do you think commodity prices are going down? Because there's a global slowdown. Hey, a little story here in the Financial Times. Weakening economy forces Brazil to reduce its target for balanced budget. I just hit the bullshit button, so no reason to hit it again. They originally expected the economy to grow at 0.8%, but now it's revised down 1.49%. And maybe he can't hear this. Brazil's economy is suffering a hangover from the end of the commodities boom and a prolonged period of fiscal stimulus. That's right, raising interest rates. It'll be perfect. Raise the rates. Then you can't borrow cheaply and keep the Ponzi scheme going. And all of those emerging markets that borrowed all that dough cheap, with interest rates going up, now they have to pay it back with more of their currencies that are being devalued as the currencies are getting battered everywhere. So, you put it together, and what do you got? Crude slump hits oil sands projects. This is from today's Wall Street Journal. The global downturn in oil prices is shining a harsh light on the high cost of extracting Canada's oil sands, which are the biggest single source of U.S. crude imports. Meanwhile, real estate values keep going up in places like Toronto and other countries like in Australia, even though iron ore is now down some 77% from its high back in 2011. It's not adding up to growth. It's adding up to why I still believe gold prices, even though they're low, and even though they're saying they're going to go below 1,000, the downside risk is where you see it. The upside potential to me is still over 2,000. Global commodity prices in sharp decline. I read to you about the Bloomberg. Oil, $50 a barrel. Industrial metals, including copper, zinc, have experienced a significant decline and now have been joined by aluminum. And of course, China accounts for about 40% of global demand of the industrial metals, and it is in a slowdown. But what is also driving down the markets here in the States, IBM's revenues last quarter plunged 13% from a year ago. And this is 13 quarters in a row that their revenues have dropped. Chip maker Qualcomm, 14% plunge in quarterly revenues. United Technology, down 5%. Caterpillar, again, go back to the metals. Go back to growth. Go back to building. Go to Caterpillar. It's an indicator. Reported that global machine sales plunged by 15% in June compared to a year ago, dropped 12% in May, 11% in April. In Asia, machine sales plunged 19%, down 50% in Latin America. Hey, you want more immigration? Here they come, because there are no jobs down there. Migration, the biggest trend that we're looking at. And not only here, mostly everywhere. Global trade during the first quarter and during the first 5 months of the year experienced the sharpest drop-off since the financial crisis hit. World trade shrank 1.2% in May from the previous month. The index fell to 135.1, the lowest level since July of 2014, having dropped nearly every month so far this year. It's down 4.7 points from its peak in December, the sharpest and longest decline since the financial crisis. Oh yeah, now what did this guy say over here? I really want to get it right because I wouldn't want to misquote anyone. This is Mr. Atul Lele, L-E-L-E, from Deltec International Group. Quote, investors have finally resigned themselves to the fact that the world is getting better and interest rates are going higher in the U.S. Makes no sense to me, but hey, what do I know? What does make sense is McDonald's sales plunge. The fast food giant reported a 10% drop in quarterly sales and earnings per share on Thursday, today. So how come? Well, they are going to those alternatives. McDonald's is becoming an old name with an old taste. But the people that buy that stuff, they don't have any dough. And that's why you're seeing a slowdown there as well. Because the wage gap hits a record 373 to 1 in the United States. An analysis of CEO pay and benefits revealed that the top executives at the top S&P 500 companies earned another $2 million last year for an average package, you ready for this? $22.6 million. It used to be, back in the 1980s, 42 to 1. Now it's 373 to 1 because it's neo-feudalism. That's right. Only dough and separate set of laws for the big guys. Senate panel okays end of restrictions on travel to Cuba. And now the measure moves to the full Senate, which brings us to the TrendsJournal. Cuba, Cuba, cha-cha-cha. People seeking investment in travel, tourism, retirement, and import-export may consider taking immediate action to position themselves for the new Cuban marketplace. And it's happening before our eyes. Remember, the deal is about business. The same thing with Iran. Iran preparing to enter World Trade Organization, set up preferential trade with EU. That's right. Whether the United States goes along with this or not, they're moving forward. Iran is preparing to join the World Trade Organization, and one political obstacle has already been overcome, said the industry minister of Iran. And Central Asian countries are establishing preferential treatment with Iran in trade. And it keeps going on. Iran wants to boost manufacturing, mechanical engineering, extraction, and other sectors of the economy. The bilateral investments are likely to spread not only to Iran, but to the whole region of 300 million people, their industry minister said. And on to some other news. I know it's going to come as a shock. And wait for the action to come. Yeah. Drug companies increasingly push to explain high prices. Big story. Increasingly pushed nowhere. It's a takeover. They'll do what they want. Citicorp abuses cost Citigroup $770 million. But no heads roll. They were ordered to refund $700 million to consumers and pay $70 million in fines for illegal and deceptive credit card practices. And as we know, Eric Holders, the former Attorney General, that's now working for that law firm, he never did one single conviction of any crimes from the Wall Street gang. Not one big head rolled, all little deals, goes back to the drug deal. Nothing will happen. But you better behave. I've been saying this. Don't cross that yellow line. Make sure you don't go under the speed limit. Don't have 2 glasses of wine. And make sure you put your turn signal on when you change lanes. You saw that video of that young woman, that slimy little boy who plays cop, harassed. Story goes that he was going one way, saw her going another way, sped up behind her, came up to her tail, and she pulled off to let him pass. And that's when he went to give her a ticket for not putting on her signal light as she pulled off the road. Put out that cigarette! Oh, yeah, it could be used as a weapon. What are you guys, little boys? Used as a weapon. Hey, stupid! Don't put your head in a face and maybe you won't get poked in the eye with a cigarette. A lethal weapon. And that's the bullshit they're throwing out. Occupy peace is more than just ending foreign entanglements and no more war. It's the military mindset. It's what we wrote in this TrendsJournal. The link is posted for you that haven't seen it at the top of the page here. It's a disgrace. They found this young woman hung in jail. For what? For what? And make sure you to behave when you talk to the police. Don't give them any, because this is Nazi America. Who are these people that talk to us like we're crap? Who made up this? I'll tell you who. The same 6 son of a bitches that brought you 9/11, the war on terror, and constant war. And Bill Clinton, who put 100,000 more cops on the road, 3 strikes you're out, and Hillary too, and all of the rest. They're robbing us of our rights. Make sure you behave. Stay in line. Watch what you say. We'll tell you what to do. It's America. Heil Obama. Heil Bush. Heil Hitler. This is Gerald Celente, and that's some of today's trends in the news.